Hi, this is Daryl. It's August 31st, 2016. We're looking here at a 5-minute pound Japanese yen chart. And these are some trades that I took today. The whole point of this, normally I'll make a live session, but this one I wanted to record just to show how this can work out even without winning pips. I actually was negative a total of about 44 pips on this trade here, the one that's included with these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines right here. And I'll explain that. So here we are. This is about 8:30 in the morning, New York time. And the first trade that I put in was over here, and I'll go to a more graphic chart to show you why I took these entries. But anyways, my first one was right here about 8:30 in the morning New York time, and I took them long right here at this figure 135.621. And in fact, price did go up. Probably my spread in here is about 3 pips, so I was probably up maybe 4 pips or so at one point, and I didn't take it, which I normally wouldn't. Price had been going up anyway, so anyway, I'll get to that chart in a minute. But this is the next trade I took right here. This is at 135.53.6. So about 9 pips, 8.5 pips lower than this one. And then another trade down here and a fourth trade down here. Now all of these first 4 trades were losses. The only winner was this one down here at 135.27. And I would have let this run a little bit longer, but it had been down in this range here for at this point. Oh, it was coming on to 20 minutes. Excuse me, it was coming on to 25 minutes. And the market was looking like the yen might get stronger. The pound was staying kind of weak. I also watched the pound dollar. The dollar was strong. So yeah, decision I made after sitting here for 25 minutes is once I saw some profit, I got out. And I'll go over these in a minute. And I took 2 more small trades. Price had gone up here really fast. These are, remember, 5-minute bars, so it started to move up here, and then it went up real fast from here to about this point, and then it pulled back a little bit, and I figured I'm going to get in and just scalp this thing. So I got in here, got 5 pips. And then I watched this price action here. I didn't have any particular reason to get in either direction until it pulled way back down here. And as it pulled into this level right in here, which is kind of like a void, if you will. When price leaves here, it kind of leaves a gap. This is what some traders call a gap from this point on up. And it did that real fast. So price will generally fill that gap in, if not right now, at some point in the future, before it continues on its way. And it just shot way down here, and I missed this low entry. I was distracted, or maybe I was in the other room, I don't know. So I got in here, and I ended up being a quick 10 pips pretty much. It did a little bit of running around here, not too much. I think this trade, I'm in and out in about 4 or 5 minutes. So let's cover then these trades. First, let me show you how I work this out. And here's a itemized list of what happened with all these trades. Now, the first trade up here, 135.62, it came out negative 26 pips right here. The second trade, this one, was negative 17 pips. Sorry, the pips is the first number, and then the amount would be the second number, like 26, and here 29.75. The third trade was minus 10 pips. The fourth trade only lost a half a pip. Anyways, the combined total of all of those, 26, 29, 30, and 2.75, it was 88, negative 88.5 pips. And my only winning trade was only 9.5 pips, but it was plus 95 points. Okay, so what I mean by points is it's just whatever amount you're working with. So you see these numbers up here on top. It starts out with a 1, and then a 1.75, a 3, a 5.5, and then a 10. These are all the trade sizes progressively as I'm getting into this position. And so the first trade size is equal to, we'll call it 1. That's not the size I'm trading, but it doesn't matter, to give you an exact idea of what's going on here. So we'll call this 1, the position size. The next one we'll call a 1.75. The third one we'll call a 3, size 3. The fourth one down here is a size 5.5. And my last trade was a size 10. So you take then obviously the number of the trade size times the number of pips. In this case here it's easy. The trade size is 1, the number in the middle. It traveled 26 pips negative, so that equals 26, actually minus 26. The second one traveled 17 pips times 1.75, the trade size. So you multiply 17 times 1.75, come up with 29.75. The third trade, the size was 3, number in the middle, times 10 pips, in the loss, and that equals 30. Or minus 30. Fourth one, the size is 5.5. It only lost a half a pip, which then is half of 5.5, 275. Grand total minus 88.5 pips. Whereas my my final position that went to win was 9.5 pips, but since the trade size was 10, that equals 95. Which exceeds all of these others, not by a great amount, but at this point, get this out of the way, at this point the pound had been moving down pretty consistently, and I was beginning to question, was this a real reversal in the market? The pound had been fluctuating in price. It was strong all morning, and when I got up, shortly after I got up, it started to get a little bit weaker, and it got extremely weak. The only saving grace here was the yen was not really getting any stronger. So let's go to the MT4 charts and have a closer look at these trades again, which are all marked in the white arrows, and the check marks are where I got out of the trades. And my first trade here, as I mentioned, was at 8:30 in the morning, New York time. And the reason I got in here is because price had been going up. It took this little retrace. The retrace came all the way down almost to this level right here, which was, a support area. And it went within a few pips there, about maybe 3.5 pips there. And so then it came back up, and it came back up strongly. I mean, you notice it had this strong move here. Remember, this is 5-minute chart again. Strong move up here, and then tiny bars moving way back down. I mean, it took whatever 20 bars and didn't even cover what 2 bars covered. And then here again, to cover this, it took far fewer bars to climb up to here than it did slowly coming back down here. So the yen was admittedly stronger here, but in small fits and spurts, while there was some profit taking and who knows what else is going on at this point. So stop runs, perhaps, stop run, stop run, stop run. So then price shoots back up to here, makes a couple of little pin bars. So, you figure price is going to go down again, but how far before it goes back up? Since this high is higher than this high over here, I'm thinking maybe it's going to continue on up. And so I figured, well, I want to start getting in here. So I started getting in right here with a position. And the reason I got in here is because it was coming down into this level right here where you had over and under. You had this one coming right at this level right here of these bars stopping and going over this line. This one stops at this line. So I figured, well, this thing could take off at any minute, so I'm going to get in here. I got in a little bit above there, 3-4 pips with a very small position. We'll call it size 1. And in fact, had I been watching, I would have got in this position right here, but I was still trying to make my coffee this morning, and I stepped out of the room for no more than 2 or 3 minutes, and it shot way down there. So, and this was the point at which I wanted to enter a new trade, about between 8 and 10 pips lower than my first one. And had I entered here, both of them, let's see, this went up about, with the spread, it went up about 13 pips. This one would have been, with the spread, about 4 or 5 pips. So that would have been about 16, that would have been about 16 pips, and that would have been a win for me, because that's 16 pips. Anyways, so I missed this, and I'm going, oh geez. So then I missed this, and I came back in, and it had gone up there, and I figured, oh, gee, well, okay, I don't know what's going on, but it's only a 0.2. I mean, a size 1, so I'm going to wait. And I went back in to make some more coffee, and here it goes again, back down without me, and I missed getting in here. So I ended up getting in here, and I guess this all happened at the same time, my bad. But anyways, so I ended up getting in here. My second one, size 1.75. My third one, size 3. And now price did go up to here, and I was actually overall in profit, but it wasn't much. But so I figured, price is getting ready to come back down. I mean, look at where price had gone to. It had gone to these lows right in here. There's definitely some buyers waiting here. So I figured, there's going to be more buyers here, and there was. But I thought there would be buyers plenty, and it would continue on up, and I'd make some nice profit. But instead, it continued up to, everything was in a few pips. Let's see, what this was, 13. This was about 10. Anyways, yeah, I didn't take it at that point, thinking it looks like it's going to go back up. And so I had to get another position in here on a quick drop. This made me a little bit nervous. I'm thinking I might have to bail out on this whole thing and lose it. And then it kept going down here really sharply. I figured, this is probably going to be my last entry. And fortunately enough, it was within a few pips of the bottom. And it went back up enough only to this point right here, which was only 9.5 pips from my entry. that includes the spread, or includes subtracting the spread. And I was in profit, and as much as it had been coming down, 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 and rapid fire down, so it was moving rapidly down here, I'm thinking, I got to bail on this thing if I can. So I was just marginally in profit, and that's where I got out. These other two, I explained these kind of in the other thread, but excuse me, on the other page. And so I got in here, picked up 5 on a very small position and 10 on a very small position. So overall, this day ended up being fractionally positive. I think that the final number on today was 0.1% on the day, and it's not great, but if you look at it from the point of view of making, say, 0.5% per day, which doesn't sound like much. You make 0.5% per day, that compounds out to in the vicinity of 8% per month. I'm figuring 4 days a week. Let's say you only trade, say, Monday through Friday or Monday through Thursday or Tuesday through Friday, whatever. And that figures out to about 8% per month. Times 12 is 100, so that actually compounded figures out to roughly 120% annually. So don't be a scoff at small figures like 0.5% per day. I mean, everybody talks about 3%, 5%, and these crazy ass numbers. Well, that's fine for them, but I'm telling you, if you keep your trade sizes small, very small, you can play your game and not have the tally or your pip count or your dollar count controlling you, because that's what it'll do. So if you keep these so small that you know that even if I had lost this trade, it would have been something in the vicinity of maybe 2%, probably 1.5%. I'd have to sit down and do the math on it, but no more than 2%, which I didn't want to do that. But trading like this, if you're using good common sense, some people would argue that I don't have any, and then of course I mentioned this in the previous video, the golden level indicator, which draws lines on here for you and kind of tells you what areas support and resistance might be in based on other areas that have gotten a lot of activity. Like you see right up here, you got 1, 2, 3 lines accumulated. So look at all the activity. Price goes up here, bounces either way, keeps going, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, so you use stuff like that, and it will help you to figure out these levels and where you might get some support and resistance. You see my last trade down here. In fact, you look way over here, this was the start of this big move up. So I was hoping that was going to hold, and in fact in this case it did. And this was what level? This was about 27. I also knew that down here at about 12, right around here, I was considering entering another trade, because on the higher time frames this was an area that had a lot of support, and plus we got double zero below that, but I didn't have to. Anyways, that's all for now. Signing out, and I hope something was useful about this. When I go through and review all this well, then it also helps me. So reviewing your trades and talking about them a little bit, even if it's to yourself, writing them down, whatever works for you, it's all going to support what you're doing. Thanks and for listening, and talk to you later. Bye.